In about a month from the release of this video, our little beloved series called Ninjago will be celebrating its 15th anniversary! Can you believe it? 15 years already? I bet some of you aren't even that old. We already got an official look at few of the sets, namely the 4 weapons blacksmith, Lloyd's Titan mech and the display. And with them, we got a look at our new collectibles, the members of Elemental Alliance. It's a very fresh take on the whole collectible thing, as I'm convinced most of us were expecting the same treatment as we got for the 10th anniversary, with another series of the ninja in this set. I'm glad they took this direction, as I think we can get another set of fancy ninja for the next big anniversary, and for now we have these past elemental masters, which we would probably never get otherwise. And speaking of next anniversary, the number 20 just sounds so crazy. I believe that Ninjago will easily pass this milestone, but it really is very insane to think about how much time that is. And to think in all of this time we got content every single year, that's just absurd. Well, I mean, you can kinda notice how the quality varies from one season to another, but that's another topic. So, seeing as LEGO will probably continue the trend of collectible minifigures throughout anniversary sets, I thought, why not share some of my ideas for the next series? Of course, this won't be some groundbreaking takes, I just wanted to share some concepts for fun. So, I will go one by one, with each of the ninja representing one of my ideas. And, to better illustrate this concept, I recreated this 15th anniversary stand that was revealed to us some time ago. I placed one minifigure for each of the original 6 ninja, plus Master Wu. And I split my concepts into 3 different categories: the statues, the what-ifs, and the stand-ins. With the statues, that's a pretty simple concept, you will soon see what I mean. The what-ifs are some light headcanons that make sense for LEGO to make, but probably wouldn't make sense for us to ever get in a set. And the stand-ins, which are just other characters, not necessarily the original ninja, who would also fit just like the elemental masters we got now. So, without further ado, let's start with the simplest idea. So, of course, taking an inspiration from LEGO itself, I thought that the most obvious idea would be another set of the metal ninja. Of course, getting another set of golden suits would be a little redundant, but I really think that some other metallic color would also work. And the most obvious one being silver. Yes, it may not be as iconic as gold, there's no silver weapons that would even come close to the golden weapons. There's no ultimate spinjitzu master counterpart who's fully silver, but I really do think it's our best bet. Many ninja suits have used silver as an accent color, I'm looking mainly at ZX, stone armor and hero suits. And there's also a titanium ninja who is just straight up silver, so this color is at least a little relevant. Now, to illustrate how a silver ninja would look, I first created this rope-like pattern for the torso. I added some color, in this instance it's black, and some geometrical patterns which kinda represent rocks or crystals. I also gave him some patterns that spell out MOE for Master of Earth. This is something LEGO would totally do. Then I created a simple belt, and with only 5 videos on the channel, I created like a dozen different belt designs. And also the rope stretching onto the legs. I created more detail with these knee straps and sandals and the belt hanging onto the leg. In the end, I'd love to think that LEGO would not cheap out this time and would give a silver head print to all of the characters, just like they did with Harry Potter anniversary characters. And here's the finished silver cowl. So, what are the pros and the cons of getting silver ninja? First pro is that all ninja are matching. You can easily tell they are from the same line. For a con, I think it's obviously the redundancy. It's almost the same as the golden ninja, just slightly different. However, you might also say it's a pro for the consistency. For another con, I'd say that silver does not feel as collectible or rewarding as the very awesome, fantastical gold. And sure, whatever, it might not be as exciting or whatever, but I'd love to get them anyways. Now that I think about it, they'd probably be a better fit for the 15th anniversary, because you know, silver is like a downgrade to gold and 15th anniversary is not as important as the 10th or the 20th is, like every 10th one. So it's kinda fitting. Well, never mind. Here is also a quick edit of how the other ninja would look. Before I move on, I also think there is a possibility we could get Copper Ninja or like Platinum Ninja. But both of these have no real connection to the ninja, with Copper being only used by the villains a few times and Platinum never really existing in the series. But I think these were worth mentioning. Let's get to the next idea. With ninja suits getting more and more complicated, and with it more colorful with secondary colors becoming more and more prominent, as well as the tertiary colors appearing, you can almost forget that the original suits were so plain and simple. No colored sleeves, not even any shoulder pads, nor any dual molding on the mask. Nowadays that's like a staple. So, I got an idea. Why not give each ninja a figure that really highlights their color? In with idea of monochromatic ninja. Each ninja consisting of only a single color of the plastic, so red for Kai, white for Zane, green for Lloyd, etc. Of course, I could just do this, give it a mask and call it a day. But honestly, that's kinda boring. So I created this simple rope print with Kai's original symbol on top of it. In my humble opinion, it's much better than a plain non-printed torso. I then created a belt and leg details. At last, I gave him a red headpiece with some red hair. Here is monochromatic Kai. So, what are the pros and what are the cons? First of all, I personally think they are neat. It's quite a nice aesthetic and it's pleasant to look at. Also, I could easily see stop motion artists using this to replicate energy effect. This is also a way we could get the ninja hairpieces in new colors. Unfortunately, on the flip side, I think to some people this might just be plain, boring and not as exciting to collect. And also getting two plain blue ninja would be kinda weak. But other than that, I think it's a solid lineup. Here is a quick edit of 6 of the ninja. Now, let's move on to the next category, the what ifs. Of course, could go all out and say we could get something wild such as what if the ninja were evil? Or what if ninja had swapped powers? But these kinda feel random and very extreme. Let's stick to something easy and something that makes sense. Since it's a legacy lineup, let's get something related to the concept itself. Why not celebrate how far the ninja have come since the beginning? Quite recently we got an official Master Lloyd minifigure. Him becoming a master was something teased for many years now, especially in seasons 5 and 7, and now that he's got students of his own, he finally became a master and even got a special minifigure. But hold up, he's not the only one who's got a student. Cole pretty much became a master to Frag and Kai to Wildfire. How come they don't get to have the master minifigures? I decided to create this master design inspired by both Master Lloyd's design and my custom Legacy Kimono Call. If you haven't seen my custom Legacy Kimono Call, go check out this video. I highly recommend it, it was my first video on the channel, so it's very special to me. I created this robe here with Nia's color, as well as this dark blue shade as a contrast to Lloyd's gold. I also opted for this golden wave design, inspired by her core torso design. Here is how it looks on the minifigure. I also gave her this dark red belt, because dark red lately appeared on many of her figures, since it's her original color. I also blinked out her legs, with the straps to match Lloyd and also these sandals. And you know what? Actually, let's change the belt from dark red to blue. It highlights her water ninja identity better and makes the design less cluttered, with less colors. Actually, as opposed to what I just said, I'm not convinced the blue color. So, I also created this golden belt. Please tell me which one is your favorite, the dark red, the blue, or the gold. Here is Master Nia. Pros and cons. Obviously, getting master versions of the original ninja would be great, they leveled up to Wu's role after all these years, and you know, I don't think we'll get these minifigures anytime soon otherwise. For cons, we already got Master Lloyd, so he'd either get a second figure or they'd have to get someone else in his place. And you know, I don't personally see an issue with Lloyd getting another master suit. And also Wu wouldn't really fit into this equation, unless they'd make like a swap, he's a ninja now and not a master. Which is quite an interesting idea. For the first time since Hunted we could get Wu as a ninja. Here's also a quick edit of the other ninja. Before I move on, I wanted to say that I originally planned to make this category the older ninja from the Reflections in season 5. But that collection is kinda in a weird place. We got an official Jay and Nia. But Nia is not really older, she is just in her older self's clothing. There's also a topic of Cole and Lloyd not having these older designs, so like 4 out of 6 ninja would just not match the other two. I guess they could just make entirely new aged up designs, since these guys appeared before the redesign. We're only missing 2 of the Reflection ninja, and conveniently this probably changed the list of their pre-movie designs. Zane is still metallic and Kai just has a bandage on his face now, so in a way, this could work. Well, maybe next time. For the next concept of what ifs category, I got something that I find exciting myself. Yes, I decided that for a legacy collectible, it would be awesome to get a series of 6 ninja who'd have their pre-movie and post-movie designs fused. As much as I love the post-movie designs and have praised them ever since Sons of Garmadons came out, I can't help but be endlessly disappointed that the ninja lost some of their features, namely Cole's scar and Jay's eyebrow slit. These two were probably the biggest losses that came with the redesigns. So, first of all, I took Jay's current design and made him ginger, and gave him his iconic eyebrow slit. Then, I gave him an alternative expression with an eye patch. As for the suit, I decided to combine the first suit in his first design and the first suit of his second one. Actually, the trainee suits are kinda boring, so I decided to take the ZX suits, which are all unique between the ninja and also extremely iconic. First, I started with this layout and gave him the back of the movie design. I added some scratches and also this text. I gave him a belt with some orange details as seen in the movie. Here is fused Jay. There is a bunch of pros to this concept. Both fans of old and new designs would be pleased, it would also be nostalgic for many people, and because it's based on the movie designs, it's super unique, such as Jay using mainly dark blue with orange details. As for cons, not all of the ninja would be all that unique. As I said earlier, Kai and Zane didn't change all that much, and Lloyd literally just got green eyes. So how do you even make a fused design out of that? Give him only one green eye? Change his eyes but not eyebrows? I don't know. And also, it would be the third time ZX suits are remade. But other than that, I think that these are probably the best concepts so far. Here is also a quick edit of all the ninja. Let me know if you'd like to see me make fused design of all 6 ninja and not just quick edits. And now, let's move on to next category. The stand-ins. 7 characters that represent each member of the ninja team. There are a few obvious connections we could make, and the first one is taking yet another page of Lego's book, this time looking at the 15th anniversary, we got past Elemental Masters. With it, we finally got characters such as Jay's mother, and that's it for the ninja's parents. but I think we could totally get a set of Ninja's parents for the next anniversary. So I started with this lab coat design. Of course, it's a little updated comparing to what we got in the show, and instead of a shirt underneath, I gave him a sweater with a snowflake, because he loves his son so much. Of course, if you haven't figured it out, I'm making Dr. Julian. I continued with the belt part of the minifigure, and then created the lab coat on the legs. In the end, I also created this headprint. Here is the finished Dr. Julian. Wow, LEGO literally beat me to it. If I knew they'd make an official Dr. Julian, I wouldn't have put him in this video. But oh well. For the pros, it's a very good way to get Ninja's parents. For the cons, well, these are just normal LEGO people. With past Elemental Masters you're still getting Elemental Masters, visually appeasing, interesting looking minifigures. And with this, you're just getting random basic characters. Also, we already have a few of the Ninja's parents, so... As for the collection, we could get both parents for Cole, Dr. Julian for Zane, that's a little outdated now, Cliff Gordon for Jay, and... well, that's only 3 out of 6 Ninja represented. But we already have parents for Kai, Nia and Lloyd. We could possibly get another Raya, Mei or Misako, perhaps a young variant, but that would make them all less unique. I suppose we could get Arin's parents, especially since they had somewhat big role in Arin's journey, so I guess it's not perfect, but it definitely could work. For the next idea, I think it's pretty obvious. If you're not getting the original ninja, we might as well get figures of the new ninja. So I present to you... When thinking of ideas for this video, I thought that a remake of an old ninja suit would be pretty sweet. But then the ZX Ninja were leaked and I thought, if they can just remake the old suit and put them as non-collectibles, then doing the same and putting the figures as collectibles wouldn't be as impressive. But here's a thought, why not put the new ninja into the OG suits? So I basically just took Pink Zane's torso print, as it's the freshest iteration of these suits, and put Arin's symbol onto it. Since he doesn't have an animal symbol, I gave him this ring with letter A inside. I decided to go with this dark blue secondary color, since it's the only secondary color to appear in more than one outfit. Here it is on the minifigure. I also gave him a belt and this classic ninja hood, which I have no idea if it's still in production, but come on, it's a timeless piece. Here is classic Arin! Pros, it's a nostalgia bait again, and we will probably never get these suits for the new ninja anyways. Unless they do another core-like set wave, but then probably the original 6 would have new suits? I don't know. Also, it would put the new ninja in a spotlight, so that's a huge win in my book. For the cons, well, there's an obvious one. There isn't enough ninja. You could get Arin to represent Lloyd, Wildfire to represent Kai, Frag to represent Cole, and Sora to represent Nia, I guess? But there's still 2 characters missing, if they included Lloyd as a Master Wu stand-in, that is. We could probably get Euphrasia too, but there is still a whole character missing. Perhaps within close future we could get another new ninja? Perhaps Jordana joining the team? Well, we almost have it. And let's move on to the last idea. In the modern era of Ninjago, number 7 has changed its meaning. When thinking of 7 characters, previously I thought about Wu and his 6 ninja. But now that Wu's gone, and we got 3 new ninja before all 6 were reintroduced, number 7 does not exist within Ninja Team anymore. But you know where it exists? Within the Source Dragons. I mean, it's not all accurate since one is dead, but you know what I mean, there were 7 of them. So, what if you got 7 minifigures, each representing a source dragon? I'm using mecha bricks, and as you might know, not every piece is on here. Of course, I'd love to use either the new head pieces, which are not out yet, or the next best thing, the dragon form mask pieces for this minifigure. But since we can't use that, I decided to put together this custom mask piece made out of the basic ninja wrap, an anaconda cultist skull, and some horns. And honestly, it doesn't look that bad. I gave this figure a pair of wings and a tail. And I also changed the legs to this Demogorgon leg piece, as I think it fits a dragon character much better. Since I quite like the Golden Dragon Ninja, I kinda wanted a similar torso design here. I also created these belt straps. Last for the torso, I put a giant source dragon of balance symbol onto the armor. And here is how it looks on the minifigure. For the next step, I gave him some scale detail. I continued the scale and belt design onto the arms and gave him an armor piece. Then I decorated the legs with scales and this claw pattern. In the end, I wanted to give him a headprint that resembled the Dragon's Rising ninja headprint. Here is the full Source Dragon of Balance minifigure. For the first pro, it gives the Source Dragons a much needed representation. So far we only got a single Source Dragon set, which was the Dragon of Motion. This is really surprising to me, we're in Dragon's Rising 4th year and we're not even close to getting a whole collection of these important characters. So, this way we could at least get them as minifigures. For another pro, I enjoy how different these are. Like, yes, we're getting the Dragon Ninja in January, so it's kind of a similar vibe, but it's not exactly the same. It's not a normal guy with a form, it's a whole dragon as a minifigure, which I think is just epic. For a con, this would obviously require a design reveal for all of the Source Dragons, which we still haven't got. And also, if this were to come for the 20th anniversary, I don't know how relevant the Source Dragons will still be, assuming Dragon's Rising ends in the next 5 years. Here's a quick edit of how the collection could look. And I'm saying could, because these are basically my interpretation for the Source Dragons, since once again we only know how one of them looks. Or two, if the Ryu is a Source Dragon theory comes true. Here is how all 7 minifigures I made for this video look beside each other. And I gotta admit, I love how varied this lineup looks. Share which one you think looks the best, and which one makes the most amount of sense for us to get. Quick note at the end of this video. Give me your feedback about my sig fig appearing more. In the last few videos it only appeared at the end. Thank you everyone for helping me reach 1000 subs. And now I gave him a new outfit and a bunch of new expressions. I personally think it makes the video visually more interesting, since you have something to look at. But I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Alongside this video I will post a poll on my channel, and with it, a question. Which of the 4 series on my channel should get a sequel video? We of course have Remaking Ninja Outfits Part 3, What if Crystallite had OG Villains Part 2, The Forbidden Swap AU Part 3, and now my take on the Anniversary Collectible Figures Part 2. Go vote for your favorite idea, and see you all in 2026. Have a great New Year's Eve. Bye!